as I mentioned from the beginning, today's session for Scholarship 101 is going to be Elements of Grit Scholarship Essay. So, my very first point before you start writing your essay is your understanding of the type of scholarship you are applying to or for. Because we have several scholarships. We have the Erasmus Mundus, we have the Children Scholarship, which if you ask me to advise you, I'll definitely tell you to apply for Children Scholarship.
Oh,
And
say Erasmus.
there are several of them, but what is critical for you to know, what is critical for you to know is to get to understand what value. So the first one says, which of the scholarship are you applying for? And then your essays must be aligned with the particular scholarship that you're going to apply for. So I have done both Erasmus Mundus, I have done Chivnin Scholarship as well, which I got both, and then I chose Chivnin Scholarship again. So no, where my bias is. So your understanding, again, these are just the two that I've mentioned because I applied to them, but there are several other scholarships that are program kind of connected to specific programs, and also some of them are specific to certain countries and some other government policy officials and stuff like that. So first of all, before you even start writing, get to understand what values or what is special about these various scholarships so that you can make sure your essay tailored towards that. The reason is that the essay that I will write to Chevron Scholarship might be the same thing, might will be the same kind of story that I will write for Erasmus Mundus, but there would definitely be a little touch to how I can make that fit for that. I think when I am done, I will share with you some two essays on almost the same thing for you to see how different they are from each other, even though the story is almost the same, right? And so now, after you've got to understand which of the scholarships you are applying for and knowing how the value aligns with what you're planning to do or what you're already doing, then you can start writing the essay, right? Now, in your essay, there's always a popular saying that your essay might fit the structure of your essay might fit into the STAR approach. So most of the time, the STAR is STAR, and I have added another R to the STAR. So now it is STARR, right? Where S is the situation, task is task. When we get there, I'll explain that. And then A is for action, R is for results, and then the other R is for reflection because I'm expecting you to be able to have learned something from all of the situations that you've gone through and been able to, handle the task and create the action to be able to situation up and also gain the results that should give you a certain lesson for you to learn. And that is a very lifelong experience that most of people tend to ignore. But in our case, we are not going to ignore because it's going to shape our future goal from what we've been able to achieve so far. And so we are still going to follow the STAR approach, which we're going to talk about the situation, we're going to talk about the task, we're going to talk about action, we're going to talk about results, and then we will end up with the reflection. And when we are done with all of these things, again, I'll show you an essay for you to see how I was able to use all of this in telling my. Um, so now let's go to the S, which is the situation. So the situation just gives you to provide the context of your experience, right? So what happened? Where were you? What happened? And then how did you feel about whatever that happened, right? So the situation is definitely you given the context of your experience. It could be anything. I'm sure we're coming from different industries and we encounter different or varied situations in our various industries. And so it is very essential for you to be able to kind of tell them what happened, where did they happen, how did they happen, and kind of what you felt about it, because what you felt about it is what is going to inform you to want to, do something about it. Do you get it? So the first element that should be in your essay is making sure that you provide context to the experience that you're going to describe. Again, the main focus is what happened, where did it happen, and how did it even happen for you to be able to move on to the next stage, which is the task. So the task is what challenge did the situation pose, right? After understanding the situation, saying that, okay, this is what happened and all of that, what do you think has been the challenge of that situation, or what do you think that situation has caused that makes you feel uncomfortable or make people who are within the situation feel uncomfortable? Or what, again, in within that same context, what do you think needs to be done at this point in time? Because we cannot sit there and just watch things being done or situations just happen and we just sit there and watch. We are not going to do that. So in that context or in that space, what needed to be done? Are you aware that something can be done? And so if you are aware that something can be done, then we can move to the action. And action, which is the A, is what steps did you take to tackle this situation? So now you have already described or given the context of the situation, of the experience within the situation. And then now we know what challenge that situation is creating or is causing, whether in your life or in the industry that you're operating from. And so now the action is going to be the steps that we are going to take to be able to kind of solve the situation or intend to put the situation in a space where we know we are providing real solution to what the issue or the challenge is supposed to be. So some of the few areas or questions that you're supposed to ask is, what did you do in that context? What did you do? Or when you came across that situation, what did you do? Or what steps did you take to tackle the situation? Right? And then did they have any item of innovation? Here, it's essential for me because if you have any bragging rights, this is the time that you're supposed to tell them that it could be that others have done something. Definitely, we're coming from industry that is evolving, things are happening, and people are doing things. So definitely, maybe some people have done things differently in having the same situation, right? But if you have also stepped in to do something or provide real action to solving the situation, how innovative do you think your approach is from what has already been done? Please do not shy away from the fact that you need to blow your horns on this to just make sure that you have your own unique approach of solving situations, and that is how you went about in taking to tackle what the situation is supposed to be. So if your approach is innovative, make sure you highlight that in your essay as well. Now we're moving into um, the results, which is the R, right? So here they will tell you that the numbers and impact is not only essential to those who are in business, right? It's very essential to anybody who's also willing to want to invest in you. And so it's quite essential for you to be able to tell them what results or impact your action was able to generate, right? And then after that, and so it could be the numbers, it could be the people that you touch, it could be all of the things that you did, put all the numbers that you can gather at this point in time for them to be able to see the things you've done. Is it measurable? Can you quantify all of these impacts or results, making sure that it was actually something that they can see it or feel that feel the impact of whatever that you've done within that situation. So make sure that in writing your essay, all of these data, numbers, impact, results, everything is captured in there. And then the very last one for me of the R is the reflection, right? R here is a reflection. Again, because we know that life experience is always evolving. It's changing. Our goals are getting modified every now and then. After going through all of these experiences and telling them all the things, telling them the situation, telling them what needed to be done, telling them what you've done, and also giving them the numbers and the results and the impact that you've been able to create within that in your essay, it will be very essential. I mean, sometimes some people make this one as their conclusion. Tell them how that has um, added more value to you even as a person. Has that changed your perspective? Has that changed who you are as a person? Has that motivated you more to want to actually be energized and do more? Or did you feel like it's a lot of work that actually needs more attention than what you've done? And you want to call on other people to also step in because the job cannot be done by you alone. It is you giving your honest reflection of what you think the experience has made you feel or made you grown into, or what value has added to you as a person. So it's not all the time that we are talking about the things that we've done for people, because we know that through the process of doing the things for the people, it also adds some value to you. Make sure you reflect on that and be able to just jump on that to hope you get onto the next thing that you're going to do. So, and again, make sure that your essay, writing your essay, follows all of these elements that we've spoken about, which is the following the STAR approach. The STAR approach, again, you can choose to leave it as STAR, or you can add the extra R, because I think that's more powerful. It adds something to them, making them know that you are also a human being. You have your own struggles, you have your own challenges, going through all the things that you were going through, or letting them know the things that you've done. And so this is you giving your honest reflection of what you think the experience has also added, the kind of value the experience has also added to you as a person. And so for me, I think it's quite essential for you to just be on that. Especially, I'm sure most of you guys will be looking forward to doing your masters, and most of the times, this is really reflection becomes like quite essential in most of the exercises that you're supposed to be working on. It just adds something special to that. I think at this point in time, there's a new area that we'll be getting to, but does anybody has any question to this point? And we're going into the next phase, which is why the STAR approach is really important for you to make sure that it follows. Sorry.
Sorry, I think there is a question in the comment section. It said if you could explain the task part again.
Okay. So the task is like, let's assume that in the area that you live, right, the situation is that there is always frequent flooding, and you know that, okay, what is causing the flooding, right? It could be that the people who live in that neighborhood always drop rubbish in the gutter, and so the gutter is choked, and so water, when it rains, the water is unable to go through the gutter, and so it kind of spills off and gets into other people's houses and all of that. So the task in its simplest form, the gutter that needs to allow free flow of rain or free flow of water whenever it rains is choked, right? So it's like something needs to be done, but probably nobody has done it, and that's the reason why. If you're done, I'm sure you know that the bar store boards have started giving up upon themselves to now start distilling some of these gutters. Nobody told them to do anything. It is them that realize that if the gutters are cleared, it will be able to help in solving. It might not be the entire result, and it might not be the entire solution to the flooding situation, but that is one key element of making sure that there's a free flow of water whenever it rains. And so the task here is that the gutters needs to be distilled. Are you going to do it, or one other person is going to do it? If you're going to do it, it means that that is your action in making sure that you're doing that to help solve the situation of flooding in Accra, to be precise, right? So I don't know if that kind of helps explain that better. but a task simply means what is the challenge? What is the situation causing, right? The situation, what is it causing? And then when we are able to identify what is causing or what the challenge is or what is causing the situation, we now decide to do something about the situation. So what you're going to do about the situation is the action, but the task is the challenge which the situation is causing.
I think it's clear now.
Okay.
There is another question
Right.
from Bill. She says, does these steps apply for SOP? No, apply to SOP for applying schools with scholarships that are not applied for but are given in addition to your admission?
I'm looking through the question again. Does
Yeah.
these steps apply to SOPs for applying schools with scholarship that are not applied for, but are given in addition to the admission? Okay, I think if I understand that correctly, I think the approach is similar to that of Erasmus Mundus, where the university, I think the universities have partnership with the scholarship secretariat. So when you apply to the university and you get admission, it means you automatically get the scholarship, right? I think that's how Erasmus Mundus works, right? So
Yeah.
yes, it's the same. So it's the same thing. You follow the same thing. The only thing is that with statement of purpose, there is a certain level to that, and it's up to you and what you want to gain. Um, um, it's like it's more of what is the again statement of purpose is slightly it's also another form of essay which still follows the same, but that also has a little level of layer, and that's the reason why I actually have again the same subject, one essay for Shibden, one statement of purpose. So I will share that with you guys before we leave here, so you know how almost the same thing, but how differently I went about it. I did not lose the element of what was supposed to be in there, which is the star, but for the statement of purpose, have a certain level of should I call it purpose? And the purpose is again how you are allowed. Also, again, I think depending on the scholarship and the essay limits, you are allowed to probably express yourself more in some areas than in other scholarships as well. So with statement of purpose, we're probably likely to express yourself more than Shevden Scholarship asking you to write your leadership essay on using only 400 words. You get it? So yeah, the essay, the SOPs do not take away the fact that you still need to include the star approach or elements in writing your essay. Again, before we leave, I'll show you almost the same subject, but in different ways, which include SOP as well. There's another question, great example. I would appreciate if you could blend these practical examples together with the point. It will help a lot. Thank you. Yes, I'll do that when we get to giving you the sample. So I will highlight all the areas that I'm talking about when I'm reading the sample to you, because that will make more sense to you when I'm reading that, because that is like, I haven't touched it. It's the same essay that I used to apply for the scholarship that I got. So I think that will help more to better understand that. Think, what about essays, SOPs, SOIs that you were given prompt? Can these elements be somehow useful? Yes, they are very useful. Again, the SOP that I applied for Erasmus Mundus at University of Glasgow, I will show you how I use the same thing, but still kind of leveled it using the prompts that I was given in what's supposed to be included in your SOP. So again, when we get there, I'm sure it will better help you understand what needed to be done. No worries. Okay. So I think there's no more question right now, so we can continue to almost like the final part of it, where yeah, why I think the star approach is really essential for you to be able to use that or do not mess that in writing your essay. One, it follows the structure of storytelling. And essay, you need to be able to, give them just tell them something. And as if anybody is within the creative space here, you will know that storytelling always has, the introduction, which we call inciting I've forgotten the introduction for the storytelling, but you start it, you get to the inciting incident, you get to the rising action, you get to the climax, you get to the anticlimax, and then you get to the resolution and all of that. It gives you a better flow when you're telling this story rather than just going about and writing and all of that. You just keep talking, talking, talking. You might not know when you're actually bending the curve, but if you follow this, it gives you that structure because the situation is definitely going to give you the intro. The task is going to give you your next paragraph. The action is going to give you a next paragraph. The result is going to give you a next paragraph. By the time you're done, you actually roughly do have at least five paragraphs that is really holding its own storytelling approach, and it just makes it best way for people to relate to what you are trying to tell them, right? Again, the story becomes uniquely yours, and the readers are able to connect. Most of the things that you're going to encounter or you're going to express in your essay, they are uniquely yours. I can tell you my story and how I went about the things that I did. It might sound nice to you, but it is uniquely mine. You cannot use that to make it fit into any shape or form, right? So using this approach makes it quite authentic from your own story because you encountered the situation. You knew exactly what needed to be done. You did what you did. You know the kind of results that gave you and the ultimate results that gave you personally. And so it gives you that human, unique touch that whoever picks up your essay and reads it feels connected to what you're telling them, right? And then again, this is quite important because the uniqueness makes you authentic and sincere. It's just yours. It's nobody's story. Rather than probably, sometimes some people start quoting essays and all of that. I say essays, quotations and all of that. Some way, somehow, sometimes it works, but depending on the requirement, children will tell you, do not waste your time doing all of that because it just feels like you've been inspired or motivated more than you going through the experience that the situation has been able to create for you. So going through this process really gives you that uniqueness for you to be able to be the authentic self, to be able to tell your own story the best way that it applies to you. And it's just like writing songs or writing music. It might be around the same subject, we might be in the same industry, but what it means to me in my perspective might always be different from another person, even though we're in the same space, right? The next one is it also helps you succinctly organize your thoughts and communicate them clearly because you are not just being all over the place. You know that maybe paragraph 1 or 2 is supposed to focus on situation, paragraph 3, 4 is supposed to be on task, paragraph 5 or 4 supposed to be on action. Paragraph 5 is supposed to be results and all of that. So you know that it's giving you that space to be able to properly organize your thoughts and be able to communicate them clearly rather than again just being all over the place. Because sometimes if you do not follow this, you read your essay or someone reads it to you and you feel like, oh, this could have been here or that could have been here. This one really gives you the opportunity to align and organize them the best way possible. Again, it's really important because it provides depth into why the situation matters to you, and that makes people take you more seriously, right? Because now, after going through all of this experience, they'll be like, oh, wow, okay, all of these things is not just about what you did, but it's about what it means to you, right? Because you did it because you got informed probably at the deeper core of yourself and realized that the situation of flooding in Ghana is not just because almost everybody is talking about it, but because it affects you personally, or you feel like you are a victim to whatever that's happening, and you doing that means more to you. Probably someone's story could be that maybe the flooding even, had something to do with um, family member or relative or something like that. So from that core of the person will make him or her approach that essay in a space where when everybody reads it, they realize that, oh, this situation that's affecting this person means more to the person than what, not just the words, but it's really connected to something that is really deeper to the person. And that's the reason why they have picked up on this challenge and want to make a change in that space, right? So, I mean, you do not have to mess regardless of the type of essay you are supposed to be writing. I think on that note, if you do not have any question, you can, if you have any question, you can just get in there. I want to go back into the essays, like the one I wrote, using the same approach, right? And one is a typical essay for Chevening Scholarship. One is SOP for my application for Erasmus Mundus at University of Glasgow, where they gave like those prompts. I got both of them though, just so you know. I didn't go to Erasmus, but I got it. So I want to stop sharing this so that I can go back and share I'll do the Chevening Scholarship essay first, and then I'll do the Erasmus Mundus after that. Okay. Is my screen still sharing? No. Okay.
No.
This is the first one, and we will be able to see. Is it sharing? Okay. I'm confused. Is it sharing? I can't see how to maximize. Is it sharing?
Yeah, it is sharing, yeah.
So I'm going to start, right? A quick intro. Leadership. So the first one, which is like for Chevening Scholarship, you have to write 4 essays. I always call the leadership and influence essay as the mother of the other essays, because the moment you're able to complete this one, it's easier for you to finish on the other 3 essays. So this is going to be the starting, and I think it's less than 500 words. It says leadership for me is a journey of self-discovery and service to people. Perseverance, emotional intelligence, innovation, and creativity have been the grounding element in my journey as a leader. So I started acting in 2015, and within 5 years, I developed the skill of directing and producing short films. In 2017, I produced a short film, Akom, which got shortlisted in 6 international short film festivals. At that time, it dawned on me that there were no platforms in Ghana to showcase and promote short films, even though there was a vibrant community of students and independent filmmakers producing compelling, groundbreaking, and experimental short films. This inspired me to establish Accra Indie Film Fest, AIF, an international short film festival to showcase short films and nurture emerging filmmakers. So do we understand where the situation is at this point in time? I hope they saw what the situation is. This is within the creative space. It might not be in politics. It might not be in medicine. It might not be in security, but this is in creative space. What the situation was, the fact that until my eyes was opened to the fact that short film was a big deal in other African countries, I did not know how essential it was for us to be able to get something like that in the country, especially in the film industry where we are always complaining about the fact that we are not producing good films enough. If you're not producing good films enough, our very starting point is supposed to be how do we create opportunity for us to be able to kind of groom or help grow emerging filmmakers by producing short films. And the reason is that producing short films is not expensive to do. Your cast and crew is not that huge for a beginner not to be able to handle, as compared to the fact that our concentration has always been about who is going to break next box office when we don't even have the funding for it. The person who's making the film is not really well known. And so even if you have the funding for it, how many people know you and want to come and see your film? And so the best way is for us to be able to create opportunity for us to amplify short films. So that was the situation. And the task was the fact that there was nothing like a community in the Ghana film industry that needed to be done, right? And then within the second paragraph, I gave you the situation, I gave you the preview to the task, and then preview to what the action was supposed to. And because I said this inspired me to establish Accra Indie Film Fest, that's what I did. Now I'm going to tell you how that was able to turn things around. During the last year's edition of the festival, from 2019, Accra Indie Film Fest has received over 6,000 short films from 158 countries, selected and screened 200 short films representing 89 countries across the world, and has awarded 42 young filmmakers. This has contributed greatly to making Ghana a global short film exhibition destination, connecting cultures and creating job opportunities through the production of short films and launching creative careers of emerging filmmakers in Ghana, right? I've given you the results again in here. And then I go on again to tell you how important it is for this to be a thing in the country. In 2020, despite the challenges of COVID-19, I successfully led my team to hold the festival online. Due to lack of funding, my team and I employed readily available social media tools, including YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Zoom, to organize the festival. These platforms were used to conduct film screenings, hold industry conversations, and host the award ceremony. Many filmmakers commented on the hope that the festival provided them during the lockdown, right? Again, I mentioned that in your action, if there is any level of innovation, do not take it out. Until COVID came in, it was difficult for us to be able to even see, oh, how do we run events virtually? How do we, it wasn't really a thing. And as Young Film Festival, as we were, because that was just like our sophomore edition, and we say, okay, even big film festivals were shutting down because, there's no space for them to be able to get people in there. And so they're waiting till COVID goes down. And we said, no, we are going to use different approach to be able to still do the festival. And so we did it also as part of our action. We did it, right? Furthermore, in 2021, we established a film incubator program called AIF Film Art. This was an alternative training ground for young filmmakers with no formal film training. The maiden edition trained 6 young filmmakers in directing, producing, screenwriting, cinematography, editing, and sound design. At the end of the program, they produced a short film. Again, the same situation and what we created. These are some of the things that we did in the process of helping the industry, or in the process of we tackling the situation. In the second edition of AIF Film Art, I led my team to win a British Council grant to support AIF Film Art 2022. As part of the program, 10 emerging screenwriters were trained in the UK, 12 emerging filmmakers were trained in Ghana, and grouped into 2 teams of 6 members each. 2 finalists were selected from the UK Screenwriting Workshop, and their screenplays were made available for the filmmaking team in Ghana to produce. The resulting 2 short films were pre-screened at the British Council in Accra on the 15th of July and premiered during the festival on the 4th of August 2022. The films produced as a result of this unique collaboration are being submitted to other international film festivals, and the participants of film art are now making major strides in the film industry. Again, this paragraph gave you what we've done again and the impact of the results that has had on the participants. And then I concluded again saying that AIF has been an amazing, challenging, and rewarding journey. This is my still telling you that in as much as it's really challenging and rewarding journey, I feel this is my humble service to the industry I know, love, and understand. This is my small R. Again, does that kind of gives you the space for you to understand how, if you check the structure that I created in the various paragraphs, you can see that some paragraphs probably wholly talk about the situation. Some paragraph or either wholly talks about the task or the action. Some paragraph also gives you the action and gives you the result in the same paragraph. Also, because I realized that there were different areas of things that I have done uniquely within the festival that I felt could match up as a task. And so I pick them individually and then I give you the results. I pick them individually and then I give you the results. And then at the end of the day, I concluded with everything saying that this is my commitment to contributing to what industry that I love, even though I know it's a very challenging task that we've been able to work through that. In yours, might not necessarily be this. It might follow specific one element taking care of one paragraph. But it's up to you to be able to tell because this is uniquely mine. And for me, I felt like being able to describe it that way fits best into that. But at the end of the day, you still find the situation, find the task, find the action, find the results, and find my reflection in this essay. I think before we go to the SOP, I would like to leave this space for any possible question or clarity and or how you think all of those elements fit perfectly into this. Any question or clarity that you seek for me to be able to kind of explain it better, maybe. Then let's move on to the SOP. How is the task different from the action? It is different. So what's the task simply is what is the problem, right? What's the challenge? The situation is there, we understand the situation, but what's the challenge? Using the film industry as an example again, the situation is that the film industry, as we all know, it's not really producing, right? So the task is the fact that we are not enjoying, we are not being entertained, we are not able to create job opportunities for filmmakers, or filmmakers are unable to really get jobs, and so sometimes you might find people in the corporate industries because there's nothing for them to do in the creative industry. So what do I need to do? What I can do is to be able to create the environment, which is the action, create an environment that brings people who are producing short films to be able to showcase their film, grow through that, create masterclass opportunities, just create training opportunities, just and more like I'm just hustling, doing everything that I can within that space to be able to cap the challenge of Ghanaian industry kind of dying, right? That's the task. The task is that it is the industry's dying. What can we do to revive it? And just imagine that if I'm doing this and 10 more people are also doing, 10 different things still within the film industry, it will definitely come back to wherever that it has gone to. You get it? But sometimes if you followed probably the industry conversations, everybody knows about the task. Everybody's talking about the fact that yeah, our films are not nice. All of that. We love to talk about it, but nobody is willing to do anything. Nobody's willing to do anything. We know what the challenge is. We know what the issues are, but nobody's willing to do anything, and we just keep talking about it. And so we know we'll talk about it, but if we don't do anything, we're not going to get any results, and that's not going to help us jump into the next thing. And for me now, based on what I have been able to do within that space, I'm looking at okay, establishing a distribution company because the festival can only exhibit, but after the exhibition, what more can be done? And so I thought, okay, through all of these experiences, what more can I do? From my reflection, I said, okay, let me establish a film distribution company to be able to connect these filmmakers to a larger market beyond what the festival is able to provide for them within the festival, right? So yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to kind of transition that into other industries that you find yourself in. So let me take you guys through the SOP and you see how slightly different that is. That's going to give you more of my story. So this was my SOP for Erasmus Mundus in 2023. So I was applying for a program called I think, give me a sec. You'll see that in there. So now almost the same thing, but this is how I wrote my SOP, right? Growing up in Ayeldo, a little village in the central region of Ghana, West Africa, I had a big dream of playing a key role in the art industry due to my obsession with films and television shows. As a child, access to watching these films and television shows was my luxury experience. On weekends, I would roam the village in search of a house that was not too crowded so that I could sneak in to watch a TV show. With that experience and so much interest in this special art form, I vowed to see myself on TV someday. With little to no opportunity, I lived in a space of obscurity, but with hope for the future. The year 2012 brought me to Accra, the capital city of Ghana, for the very first time when I got admitted to the School of Performing Arts, University of Ghana, to pursue a Bachelor of Arts degree under the scholarship of the then Vice Chancellor, Professor Ernest Ayite. Theatre arts was one of my program options. This gave me the best academic and professional training opportunity. I started with theatre and screen acting in 2015, and within 5 years, I developed the skill of directing and producing short films. In 2017, I wrote, produced, and directed a short film, Akom, which got shortlisted in 6 international short film festivals. At that time, it dawned on me that there were no platforms in Ghana to showcase and promote short films. Even though there was a vibrant community of students and independent filmmakers producing compelling, groundbreaking, and experimental short films. This inspired me to establish Accra Indie Film Fest, an international short film festival to showcase short films and help nurture emerging filmmakers. In the last 4 editions of the festival, with the maiden edition in 2019, AIF has received over 6,000 short films from 158 countries, selected and screened over 200 short films representing 89 countries across the world, and awarded 42 young filmmakers. In addition to these are other exciting events, including a film incubator program called AIF Film Arts, masterclass sessions, creative symposiums, and industry conversations on critical arts development issues. This has contributed greatly to making Ghana a global short film exhibition destination, connecting cultures and creating job opportunities through the production of short films and launching creative careers of emerging filmmakers in Ghana. During my Bachelor of Arts degree program at the University of Ghana, I was very keen to understand and theorize the holistic embodiment of film as a tool for social change. I had been studying and practicing this has led me to probe for more answers by engaging in research initiatives in Ghana that has contributed to seminar creations as part of AIF. In 2020, I had the privilege of being a moderator for a conference organized by the Blaster International Film Festival in Ghana on the role of film festivals in African creative development. In July 2022, I had the honor to be invited as a guest panelist on the 2022 edition of Durban Film Art in South Africa during the participant final short films and documentary pit sessions. These initiatives exposed me to various questions and realizations on the cultural heritage situation in Ghana. Some discussions held around the current state and future of Ghana arts and cultural heritage, and the desire to do more led me to discover Managing Arts and Cultural Heritage in Global Markets, MAGMA program, which was the program that I was applying for Erasmus Mundus. I am passionate about studying Managing Arts and Cultural Heritage in Global Markets Erasmus Mundus Joint Master. I am motivated to choose MAGMA program, which remains my topmost priority because the knowledge and experience through broader arts and cultural management will provide a wide skill set and experiences that will inform my capability to operate at a highly strategic level. It will offer the requisite skills that will enable me to elevate Accra Indie Film Fest to a global film industry to serve emerging filmmakers worldwide. The opportunity to experience the art and multicultural differences in the various cities and countries will be a great influence. This will offer me the best environment to be culturally stimulated, to learn and incorporate aspects of long-lasting artistic and cultural activities into the Ghanaian creative space and beyond. By elevating the level of Accra Indie Film Fest with my newly acquired knowledge, skills, and experience, I believe other burgeoning creatives will be inspired to rise the challenges facing the arts and creative industry in Ghana and Africa as a whole. Therefore, I seek to investigate short film festivals as a tool for the collaboration and promotion of Anglophone and Francophone cinema in Africa. My interest developed from recent collaborations with the British Council as well as Institut Français and Alliance Française as part of the 4th edition of Accra Indie Film Fest. As the festival founder and executive director, film director and producer, screen and stage actor, film development executives, and business manager with great communication and networking skills, and a critical thinker with requisite leadership skills and experience, I do not doubt that these great attributes will guarantee me great success in art leadership, especially in my home country, Ghana. My core academic skills include, but are not limited to, my ability to meet deadlines and carry out multiple tasks, positive attitude to studies, critical thinking skills, ability to articulate and defend my views, and willingness to learn and adopt new ideas and developments. These skills and more will empower me to overcome any possible challenges that will come along with my program of study. The interdisciplinary nature of managing art and cultural heritage in global markets, with access to several research possibilities, present both the challenging and supportive opportunity to bring out the best in graduates in the program. Given my experience of commitment to excellence and hard work, I am confident that I will bring a high level of enthusiasm and West African perspective to add to the multicultural outlook of this joint master's program if given the opportunity. So that's it. That was my SOP for that. So again, it's still almost the same. The start elements were still there on the same subject, but the SOP, like I said earlier, gives you the opportunity to kind of add more additional stuff because the program itself will kind of require you to understand certain areas and also probably have your research area that you're planning on looking into as part of your statement of purpose. And so it's just up to you to understand what you're looking at doing and how all of these come together to be able to just add more flesh to that. Also, because we not go into the other three essays for Sheridan Scholarship, you can see some of the areas that I'm mentioning here that did not necessarily feature in my leadership and influence essay. You can see some of them in there regarding what I was looking forward to doing and how all of the program that I'm going to do will help me with the necessary skills to be able to upgrade the festival to the level that I'm looking forward to having it. So yes, that was a sample of Sheridan essay, which is like a regular essay, and personal statement or statements of purpose for Erasmus Mundus. Thank you very much. I am now fully open for questions before we close the session.
I think there's a question in the comment section. Napoka. So does that mean that there can be a little reflection before the actual situation, especially for personal statements?
Yeah, I think you can. For that, I think it gives you more like a motivation, right? At the beginning, because you just want to hook them quickly before they get lost out in your essay. I think SOPs are a little bit longer. I don't remember the word limit that I was giving at that time. I think it was like 1,000 or something. I don't really remember if I was. But it's a little bit longer. So we're looking forward to, hooking them with your best intro as much as you can. And so you can actually have that, what do you call it, your reflection at the beginning, as, you coin it as a motivation so that it will step you up into the other areas that the essay is supposed to kind of consider. So yes, yeah, I think personal statement and SOPs are the same thing. Or am I lying? I think it's the same thing.
Yes, they are a bit similar, I guess. More or
Yeah,
less. Guys, please, if you have any questions, don't forget to put it in the comment section. Just feel free and put
okay,
it in the comment section. Let me check Facebook if we have any questions there.
okay. Again, at the end of the day, be skillful, right? Be skillful with it. If you love storytelling, definitely drop something in. I brought my village experiences and everything in there. If you are okay kind of expressing that, um, just do it. Just do it. And some people have these reservations about bringing up childhood stories in SOPs. What do you think about it? Yeah, that's what I think I just mentioned. If you are okay with that, just drop it in there. I'm not saying that it's like you are kind of soliciting for sympathy or anything like that. For me, growing up, look, they used to put the TV remotes, they hide them, right? Because I will not go to school. I'll just be watching films on TV. I can literally tell you all the TV shows of all the TV channels at any point in time. And that's how obsessed I was when it comes to TV. So it has been with me all my life, and I'm okay expressing that. So if you have any reservation when it comes to bringing up any of these things, I think it's up to you. For me, I think it added something to my holistic storytelling because I did not come from a family where I was stopped from, being an artist or being a creative. So, my life has always been my grandma, my granddad used to gather us around every evening, tell us stories and all of that. So I came from that background. It has been me, my entire life. I haven't known anything else apart from being in the creative space. I haven't known anything else. And even growing up, I knew definitely that I was going to do something within that space. So it's like building up the story for how all of these things look like. And now going back to my village and people are saying, oh, it's been a long time I saw you on TV. It just, it just brings you back some different level of motivation to the people that you left them behind, kind of. So yeah, but if you feel reserved in expressing that, you can definitely find something more interesting to talk about it. But yeah, for me, I thought it was just quite interesting to start off like that.
Okay, so there's a question here from Napoka again. How about from the school's perspective? I have read certain articles that
Mm,
advise against using childhood narratives. Do
yeah,
you think it's a general perspective?
yeah. I think the reason why some articles kind of advise you to stay away from child because people use childhood again as just to trap kind of emotions or anything like that, right? So that's the reason why. Is it really connected to what you were saying in general? It's not about you came from a family where there was no money or anything like that. It's just cut that. Do you get it? Cut that. Again, for me, still repeating, I think it was essential for me to do that because I just kind of sharing my childhood experience when it comes to TV usage, right? And how I I think it's quite essential for me to be in that space. Even when I was a child, I was always looking at, okay, why don't we have, production for children when you watch Wonder, is it Wonder Seven or Seven Wonders? I think there was a film title back in the days where there were seven kids and they were doing everything like grown up. So I just watched this and I was like, oh, why can't we, have something like that for us? So even from that time, I've always been looking into what more can be done within that space. And for me, I think it was quite essential, it's quite connected. And again, I actually got the scholarship as well. I think I got conditional. The only thing to make you unconditional was for me to go and write the IETS, which I was vexed. I didn't write it. I didn't know the reason why they wanted me to come and write English when we have been using English all our lives. I hated it. So that was the reason why I didn't. But you can clearly tell that it was connected in. But again, if it's just about soliciting for sympathy, please don't do it. Don't do it. It actually irritates when you read it and you realize that it's really not connected to the holistic point of the essay. Don't do it. So in essence, it has to relate to the general story. It should again my case was not really, it was never sympathetic. It was just as part of my obsession. Mine was more of obsession than sympathy. So it's up to you to know what kind of emotional connotation is that particular paragraph creating. If you think it's soliciting for emotion, and again, it's not really connected to the essay, just don't do it. Find another thing. You can definitely find something else to just start it. You don't have to really do it. But again, if it's like you're just reminiscing all of those experiences and how that has informed you into who you are at this point in time, I honestly do not see anything wrong. I'm saying it's all using it. But yeah. What do you think about using AI in crafting SOPs, not necessarily drafting? Please don't do it. AI, don't do it. When we're writing this in ChatGPT, we're not there yet. Don't do it. I mean, again, I wouldn't want to sound like we are not being modern or innovative enough and all of that. People do not know how to use the AI or the generative AI. Some people do not know how to use it. And again, if you've observed, AIs now do have specific way of phrasing these sentences. And almost everybody who's used it will be able to tell that this is written by AI, even though you probably might have prompted it the way that you're looking for it to, but just don't do it. Write it. I think the only time you might be tempted to use AI is when probably you've written, especially when it comes to scheduling scholarship, where you are really giving not more than 500 words. And probably there are some things in there where you feel like it really needs to be there, but you don't know how to cut that off. And probably, you are kind of stuck into. You can now use AI to help you out to probably take some things out. And even with that, you'll be able to tell the AI whether what he's taking out needs to be there or not. But if not, and I don't think it's the best thing. Again, even for master's dissertations and all of that, you are not allowed to do it. And I think if you're unable to really write some of these essays by yourself, it will be quite difficult during your master's. I'm sure you are currently preparing for how many words are you doing for your PhD? Sure, 100,000.
1 billion.
Oh. Oh my goodness, it's really tough. So use this to, as your preparing stage. When you're able to get through to this, when you get to doing your actual master's, you see how easy it is for you to be able to do it. I applied a scholarship last year, and the school mentioned that I can make use of AI. It's still advisable in that case. The school advised you? Which school is that? Interesting. How formal or conversational should the tone of the essay be? It should be as formal as possible. You definitely do not know who is going to read your essay, so let it be as formal as possible. But again, for me, if you know how I talk, when you read my stuff, you actually literally think that I was actually talking when you're reading my stuff, also because like I just love writing. And so the way I write would definitely be different from, but you can still see the former Evan in the essays rather than having a casual conversation when it comes to that. So make it as formal as possible. Again, you do not know who is reading your essay, the kind of mood the person is in when they picked up your essay. They are not your friends. They do not know you anywhere. And so just make sure you are as formal as possible.
University of North Carolina.
Oh, I'm actually considering that for my PhD. Oh, interesting. Again, you know, the higher education at this point in time is still at the novice stage of accepting the use of AI. And so there are conversations ongoing, how students are using AI and all of that. In this case, when I am sure I do not know of any university that has actually come to a full acceptance that AI is part of our essay writing processes and all of that. So even though they are advising you, sometimes they are just testing you, or they are testing you to see whether you can do things on your own or you need AI to do it for you. So I will really advise you, if you can do it, do it. Don't use AI. Yeah, sometimes they are testing you. By the time you go realize, they
They are
say, yeah,
setting a trap for you.
oh yeah, sometimes. So, um, because look, I've been to academic panels several times, and I know how students are struggling, right? Sometimes they not even use their AI, but you just been accused that based on what they read, it feels like that. Now you have to go to hell and back to be able to prove to them that You will not
You
use
didn't
AI.
use.
So don't do it. Don't do it. They are trapping.
I think I have one question. So let's say in the case where they don't specify the number of words that you have to write for a particular essay, how long should one's statement of purpose or personal statement be?
Again, most of the times I want to stay away when it comes to the exact number that needs to be in there. I think the first level definitely will be the elements that the essay is supposed to cover.
Mhm.
Has it covered enough? Have you been able to simplify that enough? Probably when you write your first draft and you've been able to capture almost everything, you realize that, okay, it seems to be quite long because sometimes you clearly can tell that, yeah, let me just take these ones out and all of that. So first of all, complete, making sure that all of your essays have all of these elements in there. And then when you're done, you can say, since some do not give you word limits, but the general probably word limits for SOPs is around 1,000, probably just, even though they've not tell you, try and stay within that. So between maybe 900,000 should be fine. So in terms of word counts, but that should be the very last thing that you're supposed to worry your head about, especially when you are not giving word limits.
Okay. Someone is asking, what do you think about including links in your SOP, say links to your publications? Is it only enough including it in the CV?
Hmm. Again, because for the SOPs, they are likely to even read that before they go into your CV and all other documents that you're attaching. I wouldn't want you to, I don't know the rules around it, but I wouldn't advise you to give them extra work to do, right? Because look, what you do not know is that these scholarship secretariats or offices employ essay screeners and they pay them per the number of essays they review, right? So honestly, if let's say you review one essay and you're paid £100 per essay, and a day I can review like 10 essays in a day. And in your essay, you've included links, which is supposed to ask me to go and read all of that to I'll drop your work somewhere and then focus on other people. So again, I think in the CV should be fine, but in the actual SOP, make sure that every essential thing you've done or every essential thing that you think needs to be featured there, you have been able to communicate that clearly clearly in the essay without giving them extra work to be able to understand what you're trying to communicate. If they need anything else, I mean, sometimes they'll be look. Sometimes they read people's essays. They're so much interested to a point that they actually go online to search about who is this person, what has the person done, and all of that. Lead them to want to do that. Don't give them that extra work to do.
There is another question from Abdul Hakim. For
Yeah.
someone without leadership background, what could your SOP be centered on?
I think it depends on from which angle you are looking at leadership from, right? I think we've all held leadership positions in one way or the other. But again, most of the time, you're not paying attention to some of these little things that you're doing. You don't need to set up film festival before you can call yourself a leader. You do not have to build a company that is, solving people's social issues before you call yourself a leader. You probably might have been part of something like that, right? You probably might have been in a space where you stepped in to making things work. All of these things really come together. So I think it's up to you to now go make a revisit and look into some of the things that you've done and just ask yourself, do you think it fits in the leadership? Because I think almost everybody, look, um, Baba, what you're doing here, it's amazing. And you might probably someone might be thinking that, oh, it's not a leadership um, um, uh, opportunity. But this is it. If you did not do it, a lot of young people will not be able to be on this platform who are looking for something like this to be able to do, to see what they need to do, how they need to go about it and do it. So I think the question again is you should ask yourself whether at all, you do not have any leadership background. If you do not, what I will advise you to do is that, look, all of these scholarships are really competitive. And for a scholarship like Chevening Scholarship, like I said, before you even start writing your essays, you know that the scholarship is for young leaders. So for Chevening Scholarship, there's something we call Chevening material. If you really sit back and realize that you haven't done anything at all, it means you are probably not a Chevening material yet. So what can you do? Can you decide to take a year ahead and start doing things, helping people do things, or just making yourself, like building yourself into that being that will give you enough skill set that you can communicate. It will give you enough purpose that you will be confident about. It will help you tell your story the best way that you can. So again, even though you were here in the meeting today, it does not necessarily mean that you need to apply for PCA if you think you do not have anything at all. I will say if you do not, because it's really competitive. This year, the Chevening scholarship application received over 100,000 and 102,000 application. And trust me, they're only looking forward to somewhere, I think the maximum they have ever done is somewhere around like 1,200, 1,300. So it's really quite competitive. And you need to really make sure that you're there. Like you need to make sure you're there. In Ghana alone, during our time, we were around 5,000 people who applied. Only 17 got the scholarship. So it really doesn't mean that you should apply this year. I will tell you to get into spaces where you become a leader in that space and you think it will give you more because now it's giving you something to reflect on. And upon your reflection, you can tell that there's more you can do. And so when you're given that opportunity, there's more you can definitely do. Right. So that,
Um, yeah. I think that for those of us in the science field, Dr. Lois is here, and maybe Dr. Lois can talk a bit about the science-related statement of purpose.
right. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a scientist.
I think one thing about the science-related statement of purpose is you don't really need to be a leader. It's just more about the topic that you want to do in maybe your master's or your PhD. So for the science-related, yeah, Dr. Lois says hi. Okay, let me talk, then Dr. Lois will come in. So for the science-related statement of purpose, it's more centered on the project or the um, let's say the projects that you've done in your bachelor's, if you're going to apply for master's, or if you're doing PhD, what you've done in the research area. So for those of us in the science related field, you don't, yes, you the storytelling and everything is also applies to the science related field, but you are telling a story in the sense of your research work or your interest and the skills that you have to bring on board. Okay. So Dr. Lois is in a noisy environment, so she can't talk right
Using the
now.
lab.
I had my statement of purpose here. I don't know if I can maybe share what I wrote during my application. Okay, so my PhD is on bio-based epoxy resins for high temperature application. And this was like my application letter slash what's it called? Statement of purpose or personal statement. So I started with a story, just like so it's about epoxy resin, like bio-based. So I said, so in the beginning, I started with what epoxy resin, its effect on the environment. So the situation was epoxy resin is one of the most useful thermosetting materials, and polymer materials due to its versatility in terms of applications. Their applications range from paintings and coatings to industrial tooling to aerospace industries, structure saves to the electronic and biomedical systems. In the advanced field of composite manufacturing, they function as matrix materials for prepegs and fiber in the manufacturing of automobile bodies, wind turbines, etc. However, so the situation is where I'm coming to. So the first one was just an introduction of what I was talking about. However, one of the reactants for the production of epoxy resins, which is bisphenol A, can be harmful and toxic to the environment if left during production or washed away by water into the environment after part installation. Although efforts have been made by stakeholders to prevent BPA, which is bisphenol A pollution in the environment through end-of-pipe solutions to reduce the amount of unreacted BPA emissions in the environment, it is very important to find front-of-pipe solutions which is sustainable and green-focused to curb this problem. Hence, the COMET project BioArt is a front-of-pipe solution that not only focuses on sustainable and renewable means of production of epoxy resins from bio-based raw materials, but also aims at renewable production and transition with the aim of reducing ecological footprint. And it's an interesting project I would like to partake in as my PhD. So the first paragraph is talking about the project that they they put out there for people to apply to. And I was talking about why my interest is in the project. And the second paragraph is talking about myself, like what I've done so far. That's where in Ivan's case, it was his leadership his leadership roles in Ghana, but in my projects. So you see that there is similarities in it, but it's just as mine is into science and his is into the general art, so it's similar. So I have a keen interest in environmental protection, sustainability, and renewable energy technologies. Hence, during my bachelor studies as a materials science and engineering student at the University of Ghana, Legon, I was chosen to represent my university at the Worldwide Universities Network on Energy Transition at the University of Alberta, where I undertook a 2-week intensive course on sustainable energies and the mode of transition from conventional energies to renewable energies in 2019. So you should also add timestamps to it. You are telling a story, so you have to let them, follow them, lead them into your storytelling. So I also had the opportunity to work on a bachelor's thesis topic that focused on trans-esterification of palm kernel oil to produce biodiesel under the supervision of Dr. Yaudalali Bensa, under a memorandum of understanding between the Materials Science and Engineering Department and Scania Ghana, one of the automobile industries in Ghana. After graduating in September 2021, among the top 1% of my class, I had the opportunity to work as a research assistant at my department for a period of 1 year as part of my mandatory service to my nation, Ghana. This research and teaching experience gave me hands-on experience in the field of research, specifically data collection, data analysis, and evaluation using advanced scientific softwares such as Origin Pro. As a teaching assistant, I was tasked to hold a bi-weekly tutorials for second-year materials science and engineering students and final year students on fundamentals of materials science and engineering and organic chemistry of polymers, respectively. This experience made a major contribution to my presentation skills, and through that, I was able to learn how to present technical concepts in the simplest ways to my audience. So this is like the skills, like during my experience in the field of research, because I want to do PhD. This is my experience as a researcher. Then I've stated that currently I am an Erasmus Mundus joint master's student at Montana Universitat Leoben and Universitat Politècnica de Catalunya, studying advanced material science and engineering. I have had the opportunity to also work as a student researcher at the Material Science and Polymer Testing Department, Leoben, where I assisted my supervisor and a PhD student in terms of sample preparation of plastics for testing, perform micro tensile testing on plastics, specifically polypropylene, perform 3D printing on filament, and also microscopy analysis on samples. Apart from my research experience, I've had the opportunity to work in different groups during my master's studies in both Montana Universitat Leoben and Universitat Politècnica de Catalunya on topics ranging from plastic recycling, bioplastics and biopolymers, sustainable materials, composite processing, etc., which improved my team spirit and made me a good team leader. In my second semester at Montana Universitat Leoben, one of the courses that was of much interest to me was technical biopolymers, which focused on bioplastics and biopolymers, their sources, applications, and the recycling of these materials. The course not only gave me an insight to the importance of bioplastics and biopolymers, but I had the opportunity to do a project at the end of the semester, which was focused on thermoplastic biopolymer fibers. After this project, it dawned on me that bioplastics can be used for advanced applications, especially in biomedical engineering, for tissue engineering, water purification, etc. So the PhD program was focused on what's it called? Biopolymers or bio-based polymers. So that was why my story was coined around bio-based polymers. So if, let's say, your PhD is about composite materials, and you are writing your statement of purpose, in as much as, let's say, you did bio-based polymers or something about computer simulation, you should coin your PhD or your master's essay around the topic or around the course that you are going to do in the university. So it's very important to coin it around that. And finally, I said, I am in my final semester working on my master's thesis on the topic crystal growth kinetics of different types of polypropylene using polarized optical microscopy and differential scanning calorimetry and of private Dr. Engineer Montan Florin Alberta at the Material Science and Polymer Testing Department at Montana Universitat Leoben. The objective of my thesis is to perform isothermal and non-isothermal growth analysis and configuration of polypropylene using in situ microscopy analysis comparison of the respective results. I am expected to finish my thesis in September, and I would like to contribute my quota in the area of renewable energy technologies, intelligent mobility, and above all, green chemistry in Austria and the world at large. In the future, I am optimistic that this project will be a roadmap for governments, stakeholders, and manufacturers to enable them to transition to the use of bio-based raw materials in the production of epoxy resins and also other plastics, which help to have sustainable solution to plastic-related environmental pollution. So it's also important that you should add sustainable development, because these sustainable development goals are very, they are I think the hot cake topics now in the science spaces. You should also add those things to it. I am confident that my experience in terms of my educational interest in the field of bioplastics and sustainable materials, coupled with my research and academic experience, make me a suitable candidate for this position. Then I wrote, kindly find attached my CV, blah, 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 blah. So you see in the science related field, maybe yes, you need a bit of leadership, but you don't actually need a lot of leadership in the science related field. All you need is to show them that you are capable of doing research, like you are capable of the research work that you are doing, and your skills that you are, how do I put it? You have skills that you can bring on board. So it's similar to maybe the arts related field, but you should just bring out the skills and the research work that you've done and also coin it around the topic or the program that you want to do or you are going to do in the university. So yeah, I think this is for the science bees, the science people.
Yeah. No, I think brilliantly. I think the various elements are still clearly stated
Yeah.
in the essays as well, so you can see what the situation, the things that she's done, and how, because also for what you're looking for to be doing, you are not going to do, you're also showing how that's going to be helpful to whatever space that you want to go occupy in that. So yeah, it's definitely great, and all those elements are still in there. Yeah, I think I was saying that I was going to respond to Samuel's question here regarding, say, innovative area that you want to get into. So I think Barbara's presentation kind of gives you insight into that possibility because again, you don't all it also depends on which scholarship you are looking for to apply. If you're applying for Children's Scholarship, definitely they might require you to do certain things and all of that. But there are several scholarships that's available. So depending on what values that those scholarship secretaries or officers are kind of championing, you'll be able to maneuver your essay to fit into that space. And so if this is something like a research area that you're looking for to be doing, just as Barbara's mentioned, you can now bring back all the things that you've done that you think contribute to the overarching goal of what you intend to do will still be able to work for you without necessarily having done it, right?